Thanks to the marvels of medical science, Hansen's disease, also known as leprosy, is almost completely eradicated in the world today. Although there may be pockets of it some places in the depths of some of our third world countries, but basically it's not a disease that you see around here today. But in Jesus' time, leprosy was quite a common ailment. And leprosy was a disease of the skin. And the skin would just rot away and the bones would be exposed, and eventually the parts would fall off, fingers and toes. And they were contagious and they had to leave the town they were in. They had to go out into some wilderness, be away from civilized society, give up their families, can't have any friends. And if anybody came near them at any time, they had to announce them as being unclean. Leprosy was a very isolating disease because it took people away from their societal roots and put them out to be alone, outcasts in society. Nobody would want to go near a leper for fear that they would catch the same disease. But Jesus comes in the gospel and he teaches us not to be afraid. And he didn't look down on the lepers. He didn't walk away from them. He actually went up and embraced them. He gave them a hug, told them that they were worthwhile, that the disease wasn't something that was their fault, that whatever sins may have been connected to this in the old time, sin was connected to faults and failings, and the guilt was always placed on either the parents or on the person themselves. That's why they got the illness, because they committed sin. But Jesus didn't see that. Jesus looked beyond all that. He looked into the heart and into the soul of the person who was there, and he gave them his love, his forgiveness, and he healed them. And we're all lepers. Whether we like to think about it or not a physical leper. We don't necessarily have our skin rotting off, but we're all spiritual lepers because we've all sinned. And we have the stain of that sin on our soul. And so we have to have that removed. And just as the leper was set apart because of that sin, and we're set apart from God because of the sin, because we're not able to get close to him, because sin is the barrier between us and God. Sin is the leprosy that we carry in our soul, and that keeps us from God. When Jesus cured the physical ailment of the lepers, he also cured their soul. Because at that moment, what happened was they felt complete. That what was lacking in them now was over and done with. They felt renewed. Yes, they were reborn. And Jesus offers that to us too. He offers it to us if we let our sins be forgiven, we convert ourselves and live a holy and good life. Yes, our leprosy too will be gone, and we will look anew, afresh, and beautiful in the eyes of God. And then, of course, there's always the spiritual rebirth that we get. The rebirth that we get when we become new. We become reborn in the Spirit. And that gives us the opportunity to get to know God even more than we ever had before. Yes, Jesus teaches us a lesson with these lepers. He teaches us a lesson that we're not only physically cured, but we're spiritually cured, we're psychologically cured, and we are made whole. So it's our choice whether we want to receive the curing and healing of Jesus and the love of the Father. It's up to us to open ourselves up to him. And when we see Jesus coming into our life, don't yell unclean, but yell embrace me.